I am planning a shot of the supermoon that's coming up in a couple of days on August 30th. And I'm using the PhotoPills app. This is PhotoPills, and I'm using the planner to plan the shot. What I'm trying to do in this particular case is I'm trying to get a shot of a bunch of antennas that are on the top of Sandia Crest. Sandia Crest is a kind of a mountain system that's just to the east of Albuquerque, about 5,000 feet above the elevation of Albuquerque. And there's a bunch of radio and TV antennas up here at the top. If I zoom in, you can't really tell that there's antennas, but trust me, all these buildings here are all radio and TV antennas. And so what I want to do is I want to get a picture of the moon coming up, the supermoon coming up above those antennas. The antennas will likely be in silhouette. I'm going to be shooting at night, so I'm just going to have those in silhouette, and I'll expose for the moon. And you can see this blue line, this kind of thick blue line. That is what the thickness of the moon is going to be, how wide the moon is going to look from the location and with the focal length I'm going to be shooting, which, as you can see, this information up here, it tells me that my camera type, I'm going to be shooting at 600 millimeters f8, although that may change. And you'll see that if I scroll back out and I zoom back out a little bit, you can see I've got two pins on the map. The orange pin is going to be my location when I'm shooting, and the black pin is right at the top of the Sandia Crest, okay? And if I go over here and look at these pins on the pin tool up here at the top, it tells me that the distance between those two pins is 7.1 miles, okay? So I'm going to be quite a ways away. In fact, if I zoom in here on the orange pin, this is where I'm going to be located. And you can see I'm basically going to be right on the side of Interstate 25. I'm just going to pull off of Interstate 25 and be right there on the side of the interstate. That's where I'm going to be shooting from. But the most important thing, or well, I won't say the most important thing, but one important thing is you'll notice up here it says the altitude difference is 5,509 feet, but it's 8.36 degrees. That means that in order to see the moon coming up above the mountain, I have to be ready to start shooting when the moon itself is at or just about at 8.36 degrees. So in this particular case, if I scroll over here to the moon and sun tool, you can see that the moon at this particular time at 8:38 when I'm going to be shooting is 8.54 degrees above. So it's going to be coming up just above the tops of the mountains. And I'll be shooting several shots, so as soon as it starts to peak up, I'll start shooting, and I'll get several shots as it's transcending, up through the sky. And then I'll figure out which one's the best looking shot. But anyway, that's how I am planning this shot. This planner really is kind of cool because it allows you to, try different locations and figure out, okay, where do I need to be sitting in order to see the moon when it's at a certain elevation and all that kind of stuff. So you'll also notice that there's a little black dot, this small little black dot. If I grab that and move it, you'll see what that does is that moves my field of view of the camera. So the dark blue line is the moon, and then I can see that my field of view I can figure out, okay, where do I want to put the moon, and where do I want to just shoot straight center, or do I want the moon to be off to the left or the right or whatever. The other thing that's neat is this shows you at a 600 millimeter what my field of view is going to be. And so you can see I'm just about going to be able to get the entire set of antennas up there. And you can also see how big and how thick the moon is going to be. So at 600 millimeters, at 7.1 miles difference, the moon should look pretty large in my picture. And that's what I'm hoping for. I want to try to get one of those big, majestic moon pictures. And also another thing that's important on this whole thing is if I come back here and look at the settings that I plan on using, 600 millimeters f8 and all that, I can see that this little set of numbers with the little pine tree, don't know why they use a pine tree as a symbol, but that's my hyperfocal distance. And you can see that my hyperfocal distance is way back behind, way behind the area where I'm going to be focusing, which is on the moon itself or on these antennas. And so that means if I focus on those antennas, that everything from those antennas out to infinity is going to be in focus. So the moon should also be in focus if I focus on those antennas. All right, and I'll probably focus on the antennas, while there's still daylight out, so that I know I'm getting a good sharp focus. And wish me luck. That's how I'm planning this this particular supermoon shoot.